The lobby voice greeted me like a stranger. "Welcome, temporary vendor." It did not say my name, it used to. I wrote the script that made it say my name, with a warm pause like the building was proud of itself. Now the speaker above the glass doors sounded cheerful in the way a knife looks clean. My badge hit the reader. The light blinked amber, then red, like it was embarrassed for me. I tried again. Red. I stood there, staring at the little sensor window like it might flinch, and remember who fed it permissions. This place ran on my decisions. I built the access lattice for Astor Row Technologies, a company that marketed trust infrastructure while treating employees like disposable batteries. Behind the glass, the security turnstiles were still. No morning hum from the server corridor. No cheerful clatter from the cafe barista. The building felt unplugged. The air even smelled wrong, sharp and metallic, like overheated capacitors and someone else's cologne trying too hard. My phone buzzed. A message on ThreadPulse, our internal chat app. 4 pings from Derek Hale, sent early morning. All casual punctuation. The most dangerous kind. "Hey Elise, quick update. Leadership approved the weekend hard switch. You were marked unavailable, so I escalated your privileges to temp route for coverage. We are executing Project Glass Ladder. You will see notes later. Rest up, marked unavailable." That phrase landed like a hand on my throat. I had told Derek the day before that I would not supervise another reckless hard switch after he broke staging and blamed network ghosts. He had smiled with that polite, polished grin that only appears when someone is already planning to punish you. I scanned the message again. Escalated your privileges. Like he had generously lifted my suitcase for me. Like he had not just reached into my pocket. I stepped aside and opened my burner laptop on the planter ledge outside the doors. The building's shielded glass made cellular signals limp, but my laptop had a narrow-band fallback I had buried into the guest network months ago. I called it Pinhole. Derek had mocked it once as cute paranoia. I had laughed along. I had not told him it could still see. Pinhole loaded a sparse dashboard. Most of the graphs were flatlined. The core clusters were not merely down, they were quiet, like someone had turned off their ability to confess. Then one log line blinked into view, bright as a cigarette ember. Elevation request. Temp route granted. Origin, personal device. Tag, Derek.h. Personal device. That was the kind of mistake you only make when you think the room is yours. I walked along the building's side, past the decorative lattice that hid the cooling vents. A thin ribbon of gray drifted from the upper intake, lazy and confident. Something inside was warming itself on power it should not have. My memory offered an image. Derek in his expensive sneakers, calling himself interim infrastructure head, in the mirror, practicing the face of a man who had replaced the person who actually understood the wiring. I crouched near the maintenance panel by the delivery bay. The screws were painted to look untouched, but I knew which one had the faintest nick. I slid my ring under it and levered the panel open. Inside was an old service terminal, the kind everyone assumes was decommissioned. It was mine. I had installed it after a board member once said, "If you get hit by a bus, we should be fine." I typed a single command. The screen replied with a sentence I had not written. Access revoked. Elise Rook. Status, off-boarded. Off-boarded. I laughed once, quietly, because the audacity was almost artistic. Derek had not just locked me out, he had tried to rewrite reality. A notification popped up. A calendar invite. Title: Astor Row New Era Announcement. Attendees: the entire company. And the host? Derek Hale. I stared at it, then at my own reflected face in the terminal glass, and I felt something cold settle behind my ribs. Not anger. Anger burns fast and leaves you hungry. This was cleaner. This was planning. I opened Pinhole again, navigated to the module Derek had never read because it was filed under Facilities Automation. The tab name was harmless. Ventilation Health Check. Underneath it, a sleeping process waited with a bird name. Nightjar. Nightjar had just awakened. And somewhere inside the building, Derek had no idea he had already tripped the first wire. Nightjar was not a kill switch. Kill switches are for amateurs and movie villains with dramatic lighting. Nightjar was a courtesy feature. It was designed to keep Astor Row from being held hostage by anyone, including me. That was the irony. I built it after our CFO's favorite hobby became telling investors, "We are not reliant on a single engineer," while I sat beside him like a silent liability. Nightjar did three things when an unauthorized elevation happened. First, it created a mirror of the system, but it did not mirror the data. It mirrored the dependencies, the keys, the service accounts, the little invisible handshakes that make a platform feel alive. Second, it rerouted every critical request through a decoy registry I controlled. Third, it recorded everything, quietly, with the smug patience of a cat watching a vase wobble. I watched the logs roll in. Derek elevated privileges. Derek initiated Project Glass Ladder. Derek spun up a replacement environment named Sunroom. He was not patching. He was replacing. A second name appeared in the access feed. Owen Park, our product design lead, the man who could make a login button look like a lifestyle choice. He was logged in from the office. He was not supposed to be there. Then a third name, smaller and sharper, Tessa Wynn, Human Resources. Of course. Tessa had always smiled like she was reading a script no one else had been given. She asked questions that sounded supportive but landed like probes. If someone left suddenly, how quickly would the platform recover? Do you keep personal copies of credentials? Would you say the architecture is transferable? I had answered politely. I had answered like someone who believed professionalism was armor. Now her name was attached to the access sequence, like a fingerprint on a glass door. I ran a camera pull through Pinhole. Most cameras were set to overwrite quickly because corporate memory is expensive. Except for the server corridor cameras, which I had configured to archive longer after the last mysterious outage that leadership blamed on weather. There they were. Early morning, in the war room, Derek in a fitted jacket that wanted to be casual, Owen with a coffee, looking anxious and excited, like he was participating in a heist he would later call teamwork. Tessa in the background, calm, holding her phone like it was a weapon she did not need to brandish. Derek leaned over my workstation. He opened a folder labeled ELISE_DO_not_touch. He touched it. The audacity again. Almost charming. I scrolled down the logs and found the moment Nightjar did its favorite trick. It allowed them to proceed. It did not stop them. It let them build confidence. Sunroom came online, their cloned dashboard loaded. Their demo widgets displayed fake graphs, polished and smug. Derek probably grinned. Owen probably clapped softly. Tessa probably noted in her little invisible notebook, "Transition successful. Elise unnecessary." Then Nightjar began to tighten. The master encryption keys did not delete. They rotated into a sealed vault that required a recovery phrase I had never written down digitally. The API gateways did not crash. They began to respond with pleasant, meaningless confirmations. The kind that make managers say, "Looks fine," right up until clients call. Even better, Nightjar labeled every external-facing page with a maintenance banner. "This service is temporarily stabilized. For critical access, contact the systems steward." Systems steward. I had named that role as a joke during a late-night refactor. No one had ever bothered to rename it. Under the banner, Nightjar displayed an email address. systems.steward@rookmail.com, my personal domain. Clean, unignorable. An hour later, my inbox lit up. Tessa first. Subject, quick clarification. "Hi Elise, hope you are well. We are seeing some unexpected access behavior after the weekend work. Could you confirm whether any special safeguards are in place? No urgency." No urgency. That was a lie you tell when you can hear the fire alarms. Then Derek. Subject. We need to sync. Elise, there has been confusion. Your access should not have been impacted. We are trying to resolve quickly. Can we talk? Confusion again. Like the building had tripped over my name. I did not reply. I poured myself a glass of water and watched Pinhole. Nightjar flagged a new event. Professional profile update detected. Derek.h. Title change pending. He had not even waited. He was already polishing the plaque. I clicked the capture and saw it. Derek drafting a public announcement on ProNet, our industry's favorite stage. Proud to step in as acting head of platform reliability. Acting. He had barely managed pretending. I smiled, because the next phase of Nightjar was my favorite part. It was the part that did not break anything. It simply removed the illusion. And the company had an investor showcase coming up, named the Blue Ember Forum. They were going to light candles on a table covered in gasoline. The Blue Ember Forum was not an event. It was a performance. Astro rented a glass venue, hired a moderator with a podcast voice, and arranged the chairs to make venture capitalists feel like they were judging a talent show. Derek loved it. He loved any room that applauded his confidence more loudly than his competence. I watched the internal channels fill with frantic politeness. Owen posted in ThreadPulse. Minor hiccup, team. Does anyone have the latest sunroom credentials? Someone replied with a string of panicked emojis. Someone else suggested restarting everything from scratch, which is the technical equivalent of suggesting a house fire could be fixed with fresh paint. Then the first public symptom landed. The Astro website did not go down. It got humble. Every page loaded, perfectly styled, but the slogans had changed. Not hacked, not defaced, adjusted. Trust infrastructure became trust pending approval. Zero downtime became zero guarantees. Enterprise ready became enterprise curious. Small edits, surgical, mean. Derek messaged again, this time on my personal phone, which he only had because he once demanded emergency contacts for leadership resilience. He did not enjoy that irony. Elise, enough. You are hurting the team. Hurting the team. I almost laughed aloud. The team that offboarded me without the courtesy of a conversation. The team that tried to turn my work into a weekend souvenir. Instead, I sent a single message. You revoked my access. Restoring your stability might be beyond my current job description. No emojis, no warmth, just a sentence shaped like a closed door. On Pinhole, the cameras showed the real theater. Owen pacing near the demo station, tapping his tablet like it could be intimidated into compliance. Tessa sitting with her back straight, phone in hand, expression neutral. Derek leaning over a laptop, jaw tight, eyes darting, the face of a man realizing his confidence has no backup. An hour later, Derek tried the first classic move. He attempted to restore from cloud backups. Nightjar let him. It allowed the command to run, then returned a friendly confirmation. Restore completed successfully. Nothing restored. Derek did it again. Same confirmation. Same nothing. Because the real backups were never in the cloud. I had stored them in an encrypted partition tied to a phrase that lived in ink, not pixels. Where was the phrase? Inside the spine of a paperback I had donated to the office swap shelf. Title on the cover, Agile Alchemy, Turning Meetings into Miracles. Corporate satire, disguised as self-help. The kind of book no one reads, but everyone displays. If Derek wanted the phrase, he would need to admit he needed me, then go hunting through the break room shelf like a raccoon searching for dignity. I watched him avoid that. Instead, he tried to blame a vendor. Then he tried to blame unexpected network behavior. Then he tried to blame me, quietly, by telling a channel of managers that I had left some undocumented personal safeguards. Undocumented. I had documentation. It was just not accessible to people who erased the author. I decided it was time for something harmless, something memorable. I pushed a patch through an old design validation server Owen insisted on keeping alive because it hosted mockups. The server still had permissions because nobody updates what nobody respects. I named the patch Sketch Deck Connector Update. When Owen opened his mockup files, every screen labeled final_final became a looping animation of a lighthouse spinning its beam over a sinking yacht. Under it, a caption, Project Glass Ladder, now featuring gravity. Harmless, annoying, perfect. Derek called me. Not text. Called. I let it ring. He called again. I let it ring until voicemail caught him like a net. His voice was lower now, the ego drained out by necessity. Elise, listen. Clients are calling. The forum is in trouble. We can fix this together. We need you. Not I am sorry, not I was wrong, just we need you, like I was a tool he had misplaced. Tessa finally emailed again, no softness this time. Subject, emergency consulting terms. We can offer a generous package, flexible structure, immediate reinstatement. Please respond soon. Soon. I opened Pinhole, scrolled to the flagged messages Nightjar had collected. One internal thread was titled, Post Elise Narrative. I clicked it, and the first line hit like cold water. She will be out by the forum, access already handled. My lips curled into something that was not a smile. They did not want me to leave. They wanted me to disappear. So I prepared my reply, and I made sure it would not be a negotiation. It would be an extraction. I wrote my response the way you write a eulogy for someone who is still walking around. Not emotional. Precise. Tessa had emailed from her polished HR address. Derek was, unsurprisingly, copied. Several executives were included, like they were hoping social pressure would soften me. I added one more recipient. Blind copied, Gideon Marr, a board liaison whose name floated through company rumors like a shark fin. Tessa had once referenced Gideon's expectations in a meeting and then smiled like she had said nothing. People like Gideon do not appear unless the money gets nervous. Subject, engagement structure. Hi Tessa, my terms have changed. Emergency stabilization requires full platform authority, including credentials, vendor access, and change management control. I will require a clean laptop, factory sealed, no monitoring software. I will verify. My hourly rate includes a sabotage recovery premium. Additional fees apply for stakeholder briefings, legal documentation preparation, and reputation containment. I will also require formal removal of Derek Hale from any infrastructure leadership capacity, interim or otherwise. Work begins after full payment is received. No smiley faces. No gratitude. No hope you are well. Just a contract shaped like a trap door. An hour later, my phone rang. Gideon Marr. He did not introduce himself. He did not need to. His voice sounded like he had never raised it and never needed to. Elise Rook, he said, you have created a situation. Yes, I replied. Your company created it first. A pause. Not anger. Calculation. Can you restore platform function in time for the forum presentation? He asked. I can restore function, I said. I will not restore the illusion that caused this. Another pause. Longer. I imagined him staring at a dashboard of investment risk, watching it bleed. And Derek, Gideon said carefully, how certain are you about his involvement? I opened Pinhole, pulled up a still frame from the war room camera. Derek leaning over my workstation, his personal laptop tethered to the terminal. The timestamp was baked into the footage. He documented his involvement for me, I said. Gideon exhaled. It sounded like a man accepting that a very expensive lesson had arrived. Proceed, he said. You will receive a signed agreement. Report to the office when ready. I ended the call and walked toward the building again. At the lobby doors, the speaker greeted me properly. Welcome, Elise Rook. My badge turned green. Cute. They thought reactivation was reconciliation. They thought a door reopening meant the story was over. Inside, The office was chaos dressed in business casual. People were whispering in clusters like gossip could replace infrastructure. Owen spotted me and rushed forward, eyes wide, hair damp with stress. "Elise, I did not know," he blurted, as if ignorance was a shield. I looked at him, then at the tablet in his hands, still looping the lighthouse animation. "You keep downloading production assets onto personal devices," I said. "That is brave." His mouth opened. No words came out. I entered the war room. Tessa stood too quickly, like standing was an apology substitute. She gestured to a sealed box on the table. New laptop. Untouched. Derek was there too, leaning against the wall with the stubborn posture of a man pretending his spine is not shaking. His face was pale, eyes bloodshot, anger trying to stand guard over fear. "You are trespassing," he said, aiming for authority. I powered on the laptop and did not look up. "Gideon approved your exit," I said. Derek's jaw tightened. "This is ridiculous." I finally met his eyes. "You erased my access. You cloned my platform. You scheduled your coronation. Now you get to watch it rescheduled." Tessa inhaled sharply, then tried to smooth the room with her voice. "Elise, we are grateful. We just need stability." "I will give you stability," I said. "But you will pay for it, and you will remember why." I logged into the system. Nightjar purred, ready. I began the restoration, and every command I typed had two purposes: to revive their platform and to rebuild it in a shape that could never again be taken from me. Derek watched my hands, like he was trying to memorize a language he had already insulted. Then his phone buzzed. A new notification appeared on the war room screen, mirrored from the company announcement channel. "Infrastructure Leadership Update, effective immediately." Derek's throat bobbed as he swallowed. He had not opened the message yet, but I had. The message was short, brutal, and written in the bland tone corporations use to hide blood. "Derek Hale is no longer affiliated with Astor Row Technologies. Please direct all platform inquiries to Systems Steward Elise Rook." Derek stared at the screen as if staring could negotiate with reality. Then he looked at Tessa, searching for an ally. Tessa did not look back. She adjusted her posture, the way people do when they realize the person they backed is now a liability. Derek's voice came out strained. "This is insane! You are letting her hold us hostage." Gideon's reply appeared in the channel a moment later, like a judge dropping a gavel. "Corrective action is not hostage-taking. It is governance." Derek's face flushed. His hands clenched, then loosened. He did not have a move. He had already spent his last one. Arrogance. He left without another word. The door clicked shut behind him. The room exhaled, and suddenly everyone wanted to be on my side, as if loyalty was a jacket you put on when it starts raining. I focused on the system. Restoration was easy. The hard part was restoring it without returning it to the same fragile culture that broke it. I brought the clusters back online in stages. I rotated keys from the vault Nightjar had sealed. I rebuilt service accounts with new names that would not flatter anyone's ego. I restored client access with clean certificates. The dashboards blinked awake, pretending nothing had happened. On the surface, Astor Row returned to life. Underneath, I rewired its bones. Every critical dependency now pointed to repositories under my ownership. Every deployment pipeline required a signature key I held. Every emergency path logged to an immutable audit stream that did not ask permission to remember. Not because I wanted to control them forever, because they had proven they would try to erase me again. Owen hovered behind the glass wall like a guilty houseplant. He looked at the screens, then at me. "Is it fixed?" he asked. "It is operational," I said. "Fixed is a cultural setting, not a technical one." Tessa cleared her throat. "Legal will finalize the agreement," she said, trying to regain footing. "We will make sure you are protected." "I already protected myself," I replied. I added one final feature, small and elegant, hidden behind 3 layers of innocuous comments in a health check module called Coffee Machine Telemetry. It was a consequences switch. If anyone attempted unauthorized privilege escalation again, the system would automatically package the following and distribute it: access revocation history, cloning activity logs, war room camera stills, internal thread excerpts, including post-Elise narrative, a timeline formatted in legal-friendly language. It would be sent to company counsel, the board, and a short list of external advisors Gideon trusted, not as revenge, as gravity. Tessa noticed my calm and mistook it for forgiveness. "Elise," she said softly, "we are glad you are back." "I am not back," I said. "I am present." The difference mattered. An hour later, the Blue Ember Forum stream began. The platform performed flawlessly. Investors applauded the demo, unaware that the architecture they praised was now tethered to the person they tried to discard. After the presentation, Gideon appeared in the doorway, alone. He did not smile. He did not need to. "You did well," he said. "I did what you paid for," I replied. He nodded once. "And Tessa?" I turned my laptop slightly and showed him a quiet feed Nightjar had flagged during the chaos. Tessa making a call from her personal phone, stepping into a side hallway, speaking a name she never used at work. Not Gideon. Sable Crest Partners, a competitor investment group that had been circling Astero for months like a polite vulture. Tessa had not just been HR. She had been a bridge, just like she always claimed, except the bridge led out of our company. Gideon's eyes narrowed. "Send me the packet," he said. "I already did," I replied. He looked at me for a long moment, then gave the smallest possible nod of respect. "You have made yourself indispensable," he said. "No," I corrected. "I made myself unerasable." I closed the laptop. The system hummed, obedient and awake. And deep inside it, Nightjar settled back into sleep, satisfied, waiting for the next person who thought they could rewrite my name.